Question number 1. So in this question, we need to create a function which calculates the sum and products of elements in the array, and we need to find out the time complexity of created method. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I will quickly create the function in Java. Then we will find out the time complexity of this method by using 5 rules that we have explained in our previous section. So I'll switch to Java and create our method over here. So the name of method will be sum and product of array. So as input is going to take integer array, so the parameter will be array. Then I will declare a variable which will hold the sum of the elements of this array. So integer variable sum will be initially 0. Then I will declare another variable will be integer product equals to 1, because we will start from 0 to sum up and we will multiply it with 1. So this one we are setting to 1 because when we are calculating the product we will multiply it with this one. So if we set it to 0, it's going to be 0. So that's why I'm setting it to 1. But in case of sum we are setting it to 0 because in this case we are going to sum up them. So 0 will not make any difference over here. So then inside first loop I'm going to loop through this array and sum up all elements of this array. So for integer I starts from the 0 and it continues until I less than array length, and in each iteration we are going to increase I by 1. Then here I'm going to set sum to array elements, array with the I. So this is for summing the elements of the array. Now I'm going to write second loop which will be product of the elements. So I'm going to copy this code from here. So here everything remains same, but here we need to product the elements. So I will put product multiply with the array elements. Then at the end I'm going to print out this result to the console. So after looping I will call system out print, then it's going to be sum plus, so I need to put comma between them, then plus product. So that's it. So we have created our function. So here I'm going to run this function for sample array to see that everything works perfect. So I will create an instance of the main class over here. So main, I will create an integer array which will be our custom array. So let's initialize the elements like this. It starts from 1, 3, 4, 5. Then let's call our method to see how this is working. So main sum and product of array, and as parameter we will put custom array over here. So I'll put custom array, so we need to put this one and this one over here. Now if you run our code, you see that it returns 13 and 16. The sum of these elements is 13 and the product of these elements is 60. So our function works perfectly. Now we have finished the first part of the question, in which it says that create a function which calculates sum and the product of element of the array. Now we need to find the time complexity for created method. Now when we are finding a time complexity for method, we always start from the first line of code. Now in the first line of code we have created a variable and set it to 0. Now in this case, according to our 5 rule, this will take O1 time complexity. Then we are continuing to the next line of code. So in the next line of code we have created variable again and we have set it to 1. Now in this case this will take also O1 time complexity. Then we have loop over here. So this loop will take On time complexity. N is the number of elements in this array, because in this case we are looping through all elements of this array over here. So the time complexity for this loop will be On. Then inside loop we are just assigning the sum of elements of this array to this sum. So assignment will take O1 time complexity. So this part will take O1 time complexity. Then we are continuing to the next line of code. So in the next line of code we have again loop over here. So this loop also will take On time complexity, because here also we are starting from the index 0 and traversing all elements of this array until the end. So this will take On time complexity. So here also we have another assignment expression. So this will also take O1 time complexity. Then we are continuing to the next line of code. So printing elements to the console will take O1 time complexity. Now here we have all time complexities for each line of code. Now if we combine these, according to our rule, we can eliminate non-dominant terms. Non-dominant terms are O1s over here. And if we sum up this On and On over here, we will get 2On. Now we said that we can eliminate the constants from the time complexity, so this means that at the end it will take O(n) time complexity. So the time complexity for this method is O(n) time complexity. So hopefully you have understood this, how we found it. So this is a simple question, but that it's possible that you can see this question in the interviews, because in the beginning they are asking simple questions to make you warm up, then they are asking difficult questions. So it's recommended to know such questions, and we are implementing the 5 rules that we have learned, how we are finding the time complexity for a given method. So hopefully you have understood this. Now in the next lecture we are going to look at another question, and we will find out time complexity for another method. So see you in the next lecture.